Is Darnell Mooney on the trade block? Well, there's some unexpected news and a rumor circulating this morning that there's a surprise trade candidate in Chicago. Various sources, including Brad Spielberger from PFF, one of the most respected cap gurus out there, came to Twitter with some trade rumors this morning. Other players listed as potential trade candidates are Lions edge rusher James Houston, who happens to be Don Burr's favorite player, along with Jets rookie tight end Zach Kuntz and Vikings wide receiver Jalen Reagor. But Darnell Mooney being on this list has to have blown the minds of some Bears fans. I want to break this down and give my full take here. First, I have to talk about whether or not I believe this rumor. There are now various sources reporting it, and Ryan Poles did just draft Tyler Scott, who shares a lot of similarities with Mooney, but I don't know, this one is tough. I want to give a couple of reasons why trading Darnell Mooney could make sense, and then a couple of reasons why it doesn't make sense, and my take. Okay, so some reasons why it makes sense. He is entering the last year of his contract and probably expects to be paid. He also probably has some value around the league, and if traded, could bring back a mid-round pick, possibly even a third or fourth rounder. We also have to consider that he wasn't drafted by Ryan Poles, and that we did just draft Tyler Scott, who shares a very similar skill set to Mooney. If Poles is not interested in re-signing Darnell, then trading him would make some sense. But I do not think that is going to happen, and now I'm going to tell you why. Ryan Poles has finally put some decent weapons around Justin Fields on this offense. If he gets to start the season with DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool, it'll easily be the best and most complete receiving room he has had since he was at Ohio State. Also, even though our receivers have been upgraded, Mooney is easily the guy who has the most chemistry with Justin Fields. This will be their third season together, and they have spent a lot of time working out in the off seasons in the past, and taking that out of this offense would be detrimental to this season if you ask me. Darnell Mooney suffered a major ankle injury and spent nearly every day this offseason at Hallis Hall working hard with Eddie Jackson and Jack Sanborn. He is definitely a guy that buys in. He stays late after practice with Justin Fields. He works out with them in the offseason. And from my perspective, I think he's also a guy that wants to stay in Chicago. So trading him right now just doesn't make any sense to me. Think about it. If we trade Darnell Mooney for a draft pick, what does our wide receiver room look like now? I love how it looks currently. It's the best I remember ever going into the season in my lifetime, but getting rid of Mooney would definitely change that and hurt us. That would mean that ESB or Tyler Scott would be back in the starting lineup, which would be a big downgrade for our offense. I do think Tyler Scott plays a lot like Mooney, and if we lost Darnell next season, maybe Tyler Scott would be ready to step up. Right now, though, Tyler Scott would be a significant downgrade from Darnell Mooney. He doesn't have the understanding of this offense or the chemistry with Justin Fields. I, for one, do not want to see Equanimous St. Brown starting again this year, period. So I do not want to see Darnell Mooney get traded. However, I am going to play devil's advocate and give some reasons as to why it might make sense. First off, Luke Getsy loves to run the ball. And last year, Darnell Mooney was our #1 wide receiver, and he didn't get a ton of targets. Those targets will now go to DJ Moore, and then we also have a lot more mouths on offense to feed, such as Cole Kmet, Chase Claypool, and the running backs. So maybe Poles is just getting in front of the bus here and doesn't want to pay Mooney down the road because he's not going to use him that much. Also, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, and Jalen Johnson are all up for contract extensions. It's possible that Poles in the front office have decided they won't be re-signing Mooney, and in that situation, it does make sense to see what you can get for him. Another thought here is Poles also might want to give his draft picks, Velus Jones Jr. and Tyler Scott, more opportunities. Trading Darnell Mooney, who was a Ryan Pace draft pick, would definitely open the door for Velus and Tyler Scott. I love Mooney. But I think most of you know if I had to choose between Darnell and Claypool, I would resign Chase Claypool first. I would definitely still resign Mooney, though. It's not a slight on Mooney's game at all. It's more about what Claypool brings to the table. His size and speed combination is unmatched and unique. You might be able to replace Mooney with a Tyler Scott, but who would you replace Chase Claypool with? I think some fans struggle with this because we haven't really seen Claypool play up to his potential yet. But remember this about Claypool, whatever your opinion is of him now, wait until you see him with DJ Moore and Justin Fields this year on this offense. I think people are going to like him a lot more. Lastly, I never want to start rumors or speculate here, but Darnell Mooney did have major offseason ankle surgery, and to this point, I don't know if he's completely returned to form and is 100% yet. He started camp very slowly, and he finished preseason without a catch. I saw him make some plays in camp, but I don't think he's fully himself just yet. I think he's getting close, and I'm confident he will have a good year. But if he does get traded, maybe that had something to do with it. Let me be clear though, I do not expect Darnell Mooney to get traded. The rumors are circulating and seem to have some truth to them, but it doesn't mean a trade is coming. Maybe some teams called about Mooney, but I don't see him getting traded. However, when it comes to this roster and Ryan Poles getting into action, it's about to go down. Ryan Poles has already began making a ton of moves. 13 players have been released between last night and this morning. These are the guys who have been waived so far. Quarterback P.J. Walker, offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood, Kellen Diesch, and Bobby Haskins, wide receivers Nasimba Webster and Darius Fountain, tight end Lachlan Pitts, and then on defense, my guy DeAnthony Jones, defensive tackles Andrew Brown and Bravion Roy, linebacker Davion Taylor, and cornerback Michael O.J. Mudia. I expect moves to continue pouring out all day. I do have this post on my community tab. I will update this live throughout the day every time a player gets released or we have new news drop. And then I'll recap it tonight, breaking down all the moves that happened so far. And again tomorrow after the deadline, we'll take a look at our final 53-man roster. But I expect Ryan Poles to stay busy throughout the next 48 to even 72 hours. This week is going to be crazy. Our roster is going to go through a ton of changes. Please hit that like button for me. I have so much more content on the way. It's almost time for Bears season, guys. Our next game will be against the Green Bay Packers. I'm counting the hours down. Stay tuned because I'll be here to cover every step of the way. And until next time, bear down.